time management perspective, I don't have one set theory about how I feel about time management in particular. When I wrote the book, Eliminate the Chaos at Work, 25 Techniques to Increase Productivity, I wrote it because so many people would come to me and they would say, I want you to organize my office. Great. What does that mean? Is it your stuff? Is it the paper? Is it the electronic information? Is it time management? Is it the furniture? What is it? And oftentimes when I ask someone, what is it about your office that needs to be organized, or how do you need to be more productive, they don't really know how to state that. So by saying, here's the 5 different areas that we can look at, all of those things, all of those different areas, all will make you better managers of time by employing some of those techniques, many of which I will share. But that's why I want you to understand is my philosophy on time management is so different than so many, because I really look at all of those different areas when it comes to managing your time. Paper. Let's just think about paper for a minute. A filing system. What is that really? It's a place that you can file information, but isn't it also a place where you retrieve information from? So it's both. And a lot of times why people don't file, they do the pile method instead of file method, is so they think, oh, well, I'll just keep it out here and I'll keep it nice and handy, right? So I can find it when I need it. I hear this all the time. I have been doing this for 15 years. I have worked in a lot of law offices and they have a lot of paper. So I'll just tell you a funny story. So a lot of times I get brought into companies when the performance review has not been so good. And they're not good managers of time. They don't have a lot of organizational skills. They don't know how to do certain things. Not a problem. So I walk in to a very successful attorney's office, paper everywhere. On his desk, there is a pile of paper that is about this tall. I called it the Leaning Tower of Paper. And I looked at him and I said, but he prefaced this conversation with, I know where to find everything. And I'm like, okay, I've heard that before. So at one point I asked him about something. This was not a quiz. I mean, it really was just a question. And I said, okay, could you find this for me? And he couldn't find it. And I said, so in this stack of paper, how do you know where something is located? Well, if it's about a week old, it's a few inches down. And if it's about a month old, it might be halfway down the stack. And I'm like, that is not a great filing system. So we did a couple sessions together, right? And one day I walk into his office and there is nothing on the desk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you get an A, you did your homework. I am so proud of you. I mean, I'm not saying that, but that's what I'm thinking. So I sit down in the chair, he invites me to sit down. He can tell by the smile on my face. I'm like so excited for him that he's gone through his paper. So we're about halfway into the session and he's got, his big credenza behind the desk and the sideboard over here, and I'm sitting in front of the desk and he's behind me. And I needed to come around the desk to get back to the credenza. So I walk around and I just kind of glance under the desk. What's under the desk? Oh, the paper. Yeah. So the lack of having a good system, I mean, it was just still one of those things I will never forget. But here's the thing. It's the same thing with our electronic information, right? If we don't have that structure on our computer for how we file things, how are we also going to be able to retrieve it in the future? It makes it really difficult for people. So I use the word papers, and I have this little process that I use with papers. So if you think about the incoming mail that you get, first of all, you have to have a process, and the process probably needs to be unique to you. And then we also have what's called a daily action center. And what a daily action center is it could be something portable that lives on top of your desktop in like a hanging file structure sort of thing. Could also live on your floor if you wanted in a portable filing box. It could also be in a desk drawer. But a daily action center, what it really is that's the stuff that you're working on every day, your projects. So instead of piles, it's files. Lots of different devices, tons of email, files that we can't find, lack of folder structures, all things that rob us of valuable time, especially if you have to spend a lot of time searching for things, or worse yet, if you've got to recreate lost documents. So 2 types of clutter, the visible and the non-visible. And the non-visible types of clutter is what really turns companies and individuals into not being as productive and as profitable as possible. So what we covered was, how to set up and maintain file naming conventions, the 4 email actions you can take, how to set up an inbox organization structure, preface comments with so that you get your questions answered or you're answering questions for someone else, flagging email for follow-up, delaying delivery of email, saving sent items to, the email templates, the papers method, and the daily action center.